Hi students. In the last session, we were discussing the process of business research. I think we have discussed almost 3 points in the last session. The development of research design was the major topic related to the last session, and the collection of data and the processing of data, especially the editing, coding, classification, and tabulation. These were the things which we were discussed in the last session, and we'll move on to the next point of process, that is interpretation of data. Interpretation is done with the intention of seeking explanation for the research result on the basis of the existing theories. So in this process, actually we are reaching to a point where we are finding, or we are trying to find the answers for the objectives, or the for the questions or the problem that we raised as a part of the research. So we are in a process of identifying the solutions for that, or we are isolating the causes and effects of the problem that we are raised throughout the research. So actually we are conducting this interpretation in line with the objectives that we have already formed in the second or third stage of the research. So after review of literature, we have formed the objectives also. So on the basis of the objectives, or the scope of the study, we are trying to find results of the research. So that is what is we are trying to interpret. We are trying to understand what is happening with the data and how the response is all about, and all that is what we are doing in this stage. And the another stage is formulating conclusions and preparing the reports. This is what is related to the last stage of the research, because we are communicating the result. We have to communicate the result, even maybe for the management, or for the customers, or for the general public, or for the government, or for any other purpose. We have to communicate the results of the research. So in the definition of the business research itself, we have discussed the importance of communication of the result. So this is the last stage. We have a set of pattern for preparing the result of the project. We have a format for preparing the project report. So conclusion should cover answered as well as the unanswered questions. So we have to answer to the questions that we raised as a part of the research problem. Now, the researcher has to prepare a report for presenting it before the interested parties. For the sake of understanding, we can say that they are interested parties. They have substantial interest in the research. They may be customers, they may be employees, they may be management, and maybe general public, or the government, or even the society also. So, in most cases in business research, we can say the management is the interested party, or the party which needs to have the result of the research. We can say the research report should be communicated with the research findings effectively. We can say that unless and until it is communicated properly, we cannot say that the research is complete. So with with the expert opinion of the researcher, we need to conclude the research in intact. And the last stage is the replicate the study for the generalization. In some cases, we may end the study with the communication of the result, but in most of the cases, for the validation of the study, what we need is to go ahead with the step of replication. Replication means what we can call it as, we can say that it is a repetition of the study, and we are proving the earlier study is or right or wrong. Generalization based on the research results are made to build a new theory. Such generalizations come up with better explanation and new theories for existing phenomena. See, we might have found a result in related to a particular population, maybe a study conducted in Kerala, or maybe a study conducted in South India. that may not be applicable to the entire India, or maybe the northern part of India, or maybe some research data or the responses are not applicable universally. So we have to, when we go for the generalization, we have to have a replicative study. That means we have to conduct the study in different scenarios and have to prove that this kind of results are generalizable, and this will be applicable in all cases, that we have to say. So only then we can see that this is a generalized theory and we can apply it in every places. So in most of the cases, the replication study is not happening. That's why we cannot generalize the data or the research findings. So for better understanding, we need to have a replicative study in all the business research processes. So we have gone through the different process of business research. Now we have to discuss a different word or something which is a part of the business research. Once we have already discussed this word, but we are going to discuss this word in detail. Actually, we this word is called variable. For every research, we need to have this word variable in our study. A variable is an attribute on which things vary. That is a very simple understanding of this word. A variable is any entity that can take on different values. A variable is anything that can change in quantity or value. If an attribute does not vary, it is a constant. See, we can we are familiar with both words variable and constant. In mathematical formulas and mathematical theories, we can use this word constant. Some things or something will be constituted as constant because that is not changing, or on the basis of that we are conducting the study. That is called constant. But in most of the social science research, we have something called a variable. Variable is something which is varying, we can say that. The variables are not always quantitative or numerical. Some variables are qualitative also. So we will look into detail of what is variable. Sometimes in social research, variable may be a gender or income, religion, caste, maybe our opinions, our disopinions, our interests, our taste and preference, our satisfaction, our agreement. All these things may be the variable because all these elements are sometimes qualitative and others are quantitative, and these may vary according to the respondents. So only according to the respondents we can say that this is something applicable to a particular respondent. So these responses are varying in different scenarios, so that we have to consider this as a variable. So in variable we have used a word called attribute. Attribute means an attribute is a specific value on a variable. For example, the variable gender has two attributes, that is male and female, or the variable agreement might be different and having the five attributes. One is strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree. These are the different variables that can be attached with the word agreement. See, for example, we may agree with something. If you ask a particular question related to your agreement, especially the are you agreeing with the policies of the government? So we can say some people are strongly agreeing with that, some people are strongly disagreeing with that, some people are neutral on that, they don't want to comment on that, some people are strongly disagreeing that, and some people are agreeing that. See, these are all different opinion of the people. So when a researcher is taking a decision or conducting a research, he need to take into consideration all these kind of attributes we have to say. So only then the study is going to be complete. So that this is called something which we say attribute. So the specific value is called attribute. That means strongly agree, strongly disagree, neutral agree, strongly agree, or in case of gender it is male and female. These are all specific values. And the on if these the varying thing is called the variable, we can say. Variable can be of different types. The mainly we can say four types of variable, that is dependent variable, independent variable, intervening variable, and the moderating variable. Dependent and independent variable, the distinction between the independent and the dependent variable is particularly relevant when you are investigating in cause and effect relationship. In simple terms, in independent variable is a cause and effect relationship that comes into existence. We can look at the statement that being provided there. Increase in poverty leads to increase in crime. Regular training improves the productivity of workers. These are two scenarios. The one is increase in poverty lead to increase in crimes. The first point is we can see two kind of variables here. One is poverty and one is crime. These are two variables we can take into consideration. But in this statement, directly we can see one thing is independent and the other thing is dependent. From this, we can see that poverty is something that is poverty is something increases, and crimes are also increases, that is linearly, that is progressing. But what is actually increasing, that means the crimes are increasing on the basis of the poverty. So which is the independent variable here? The independent variable here is the crimes, and the dependent variable here is the poverty. As the poverty increases, that is the depending variable increases, the crimes are increasing. The regular training improves the productivity, that is training and the productivity. So productivity increases as a part of training. So these are jointly connected. So that is why we have to, in different scenarios, uh, we have to fix which is the dependent variable and which is the independent variable, which is constant and which is depending on something, that we have to check into consideration. Another variable is intervening variable. An intervening variable is one which suggests the relationship between independent variable and is not a direct one. We can see with this graph market orientation, employee attitude, and the organization performance. We can see that market orientation means the exposure of the business in the market, and the company's performance is denoted by organizational performance. But these two elements or these two variables are connected with the employee's attitude. So the intervening variable or the intermediary variable here is the employee's attitude. Unless and until the positive attitude of the employee is contributing towards the growth of the organization, there will not have organizational performance, and thereby the market orientation will be there. So intervening variable here is the employee, and the moderating variable is type of variable can moderate the relationship between two variable. The relation between two variable holds for men but not for women, then the relationship is said to be moderated by gender. So this is what we have to say. So these are the different variables which we can say related to. So I think these things are clear to you. So we'll discuss in detail with the next class. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much.